Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Virtual Reality. Today I wanted to show you a project I've been working on and I think it's pretty interesting. So this uses the Hubs by Mozilla framework to load in virtual environments and VR using the WebXR framework, and I think you'll find something easily recognizable. Welcome to the Hogwarts Grounds area from the first Harry Potter PC game. You might find this as ridiculously recognizable. Now, as you can see, there is some glitching and the skybox isn't perfect, but yeah, this is a fantastic example of what this hardware is capable of, or at least a web-based content development system. I can walk around the grounds. As you can see, texture pop-in is not perfect, but you'll see recognizable elements from a very, very old PC game. This game came out in the early 2000s. It's basically abandonware at this point, which means you're not able to buy it from any general platform. And because of that, DMCA takedowns are basically impossible, mainly because nobody really owns the rights to this content anymore since nobody's able to physically purchase it. You're able to access this type of content from the archive.org element, which is a fantastic archiving system for shareware and early level PC games. So if you want to find old software, you can definitely go there, and I'll leave a link in the description. But as you can see, I was able to take a ridiculously old PC game map and load it into virtual reality on a web-based platform, which is just absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible, just the amount of availability that I have with it. I can no-clip through regions just to get a better understanding of the objects. Because the geometry is really early level, you can walk around and see a ton of specific elements. And the geometry is mapped so you can walk up and down elements. It's all basically there. Now again, this is pretty plug and play. It's not 100% perfect. As you can see, texture pop in, low-level elements. This isn't the Harry Potter game. This is just the map object itself. I was able to convert the object, the .obj file, into a GLB file, which is what's used to render a VR-based environment. But as you can see, most of it seems to work. The trees are the biggest elements that don't seem to work. But it's fantastic, and a lot of the textures load in without any problems. You can see quite a lot in terms of the Hogwarts elements, the individual house names for the Quidditch teams. You can walk around in the 3D space. Now again, this was an early level PC game, so a lot of the environment objects don't physically work that well. But the geometry mapping is quite impressive, at least in terms of what you can get away with it. Now the grounds is basically all here. You have to teleport and no-clip to get to certain elements. Specifically, one of the most recognizable elements is Hagrid's hut. Again, the grass and the tree element pop-in is kind of bad, but here you go, a VR representation of Hagrid's hut from the first Harry Potter game. And seeing it in scale, if you load the scaling texture size enough, you can get some ridiculously impressive features. And in VR, it is just absolutely breathtaking. Now, you might think I stopped here, and I didn't. This was just a test environment. So let's no-clip and basically fly through the area, just so I can get a better understanding of where we are in 3D space. Now, you can see specific elements in terms of the scale of the castle. Again, because this is a PC-based game, there was only so much that could be loaded at a specific time. And you can actually see the elements that they had to cut from the game's feature set, at least over a longer period of time. You can visit the herbology area, which is rather fantastic. Again, this is from the Chamber of Secrets PC-based game. I could have gotten some elements from the Philosopher's Stone, or the US version's name is Sorcerer's Stone, and I could have pulled assets from that game, but the resolution quality wasn't that high. And again, this is not 100% perfect, but it does offer a pretty interesting element, and I can snap back into frame here. So here, I loaded a secondary room, which you can open the link and access. And in doing so, it loads the next scene, which is its own separate room and based environment, taking the .obj file and creating a 3D based environment, the main hall. Again, this is very early work, and it isn't perfect. As you can see, I just no-clipped out of space. And I think I just opened into the skybox. That's pretty funny. Okay, so let's go to the entrance area. I think I probably set the spawn point to something that wasn't 100% perfect, and seeing it in this ridiculously absurd environment does make it somewhat interesting. Okay, so that leads back outside, and main hall. I think the sizing part made me a little bit too big, but this is a good representation of what you can access. So the scaling is not 100% perfect. As you can see, I have to edit that. But you can visit the dungeons, and you can see the 3D-based geometry from a very early level PC game, which is pretty fascinating. I'm pretty sure Snape's classroom is somewhere around here. Let's see if we can find it from the exterior. Here is Professor Snape's classroom, complete with cauldrons and potion bottles and other various knickknacks, which is not rendering 100% properly, but it's still a pretty excellent representation. And his desk is a little bit small. Let's see. What else is there in the Great Hall area? I'm pretty sure we can see the Great Hall's main tables. All of the portraits are loading in, and those were ridiculously recognizable. Let's see. What else is there? So here's the Great Hall. Basically all the tables. It was a lot smaller in the first movies in the first game, wasn't it? A lot less people coming to the school, apparently. Let's see. Quite a few smaller scale areas. I'm pretty sure. Yep. Here is the place where you could see the house point system from the original game. A lot of the textures are loading in rather well. Unfortunately, it's not 100% perfect in the no clipping, but again, this is me porting a very early PC game into a web-based VR platform. So exploring the 3D geometry is not going to be 100% perfect. You can see the entrance to a specific level of areas. I remember certain spell figures, and yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here, mainly because there's really not much else to display. This gives a pretty good representation as to what's available with this type of project. And as you can see, that's it. Thank you for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. If you would like to leave a comment, feel free to do so. I'm going to continue developing this type of project to see how far we can go with it. But yeah, it's ridiculously exciting, and this is why I like VR. You can do things like this. And the real question is, if somebody could take the original game and port it into VR using a first-person view. Unfortunately, that game was a third-person based view game, but there might be a possibility for us to have some semblance of a VR-based element to it. I think that would be really cool. Again, building that from the ground up would be a huge process. But that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Have a nice day.